Okay.
Ooh, it says live. No.
That's why. Chloe's more on the ball than I am.
Sorry.
It's all right. This is a good thing. All right, guys. Hello, afternoon. Sorry, we were just talking about how tired I am today. Scheduling a live show right at the end of term is a really good move. But we're going to chat. Chloe and I are going to chat all about Eve Brown. I nearly said Eve Smith then. That's not even close. I'm teaching in Spectacles, and there's a character in that called Eva Smith, and yeah, very, very different stories. Yes, so we are going to chat all things Eve Brown. Charlotte's not going to make it, unfortunately, from Books and Bargains, but Chloe and I will chat through a few bits and pieces together. Those of you in the comments, I can see a few people are watching, which is very lovely. Hello. First of all, we can say hello. Let me know you can see and hear us, because that is always my fear, that I'm going to be like chatting away and no one can hear me. So
I've done it many times.
Yeah, and it's just like, so yeah. So let me know if you can hear us. And if you have read Eve Brown, which hopefully why you're here, although you're welcome if you haven't, did you read it? Was it the first time you read it, or was it a reread? And what was your star rating out of 5? Because I'm always intrigued to know that. Chloe, was this the first time you were reading Eve?
The first time I was reading Eve. So through the whole Sister-along, the only one I'd ever read before was Chloe. So it was my first read for Danny and then Eve. So, yeah, I was very excited to get to this one.
Yeah.
And absolutely. Oh, sorry, go on. I was jumping ahead.
Sorry, I can see comments dropping in, and Laura's just saying that in Spectacles is a very different story. Yes, it definitely is. Get to that in a bit. So what did you think of Eve?
I absolutely loved it. It was my favorite of the 3 for many, many reasons. Which I guess I won't go too far into it, but no, absolutely loved it. Pretty much nearly the easiest 5-star I gave this month. Just absolute joy. Really.
Yeah, that's good. I'm so glad you liked it. Like when those of you who are watching may or may not know, like when I came up with this idea at the end of last year, I just put like a general like call out on Instagram saying, you know, if you're a creator and you feel like fancy like joining in with this and helping me co-host and all that kind of stuff. There were obviously, we've had people who've read it before, so I think Charlie's read all 3 before, and I think Daniela's also read all 3, but there were a couple of you that had only read 1, and I was like, I really especially when Chloe, when you said you wanted to read Eve, I was be co-host for Eve, I was like, oh my gosh, I hope she gets to the 3rd one and likes it, because if not, I've made her read like 2 books. And like, what if she hates him? So that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad you like them. I did
find out as well through reading the books and like the gift notes I have in, you bought me the whole series.
Did I?
For like different occasions. So I was like, you kind of forced me to do it anyway.
Well, that's good. And also we've taken like 2 books off your TBR, so that's nice. So wins all around. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's like a massive relief, because like I said, I was like, if she gets to the end of this project and she's hating 2 of the books, I'm gonna feel so awful. Right, so let's put some comments up on the screen. So Crazy Mouse said hello. Daniela's also here. Hello. And Laura's here. Hi, Laura. Yes, Crazy Mouse saying can see and hear you. That's good. Like I said, I just don't want to do like start live shows and then people can't hear me. Olivia's here as well.
Hello.
Nice. And yeah, Laura said very different. Also, Laura also teaches English GCSE level. Very different story. I hate it in Spectacles. I don't hate it. I'm getting to the point in the year when I'm sick of it, because the GCSEs are coming up. But yeah, very different story to this. So Olivia said favorite of the 3, has been looking forward to reading it. Yay. Or rereading it, I'm assuming. We'll talk about favorites in a minute. Yeah, Crazy Metal said was my favorite too. Easy 5 stars. Yeah, it was a 5-star for me as well. This was my second time reading Eve. Definite 5 stars. It definitely also made me laugh the most of the 3, like out loud laughing. Daniela said, I think I loved it even more this time. That's good. Oh, this is the other thing with like asking people to read books when they actually enjoy them. I'm like, thank goodness for that.
I think I did both Chloe and Danny could have been 4.5, but I was like, oh, we'll give them 5. Whereas this one was like, no, 5.
Yeah.
5. Loved it.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because when I read them 3 the first time, I gave all 3 5 stars. And then when I read Chloe, I shifted it down to 4.5. And then Danny stayed at 5 stars and Eve stayed at 5 stars. But I think my ranking has shifted, which I didn't expect. So I've always said that Dani Brown was my favourite of the sisters and my favourite book, but I think Eve is actually my favourite book and my favourite sister. I think I identify most with Dani.
Yeah, I see that.
The way that she is. But I think Eve actually is my favourite sister now. And that's the biggest change from doing this. Because she's really funny and interesting, and I want her to cook me breakfast.
Yes.
Sounds like a really good cook, or bake me something. I cannot bake.
I can't.
Like, anyone who knows me, I would only ever bake for somebody I didn't like. Let's put it that way. I can't bake.
I think mine has to go Eve, in terms of books, is Eve, Chloe, Dani.
Okay.
But I think I just like Chloe more because my name's Chloe. Like,
yeah,
I think that's literally it. So there'll be like spicy scenes, and I'm like,
yeah,
a bit warm. But then actual sisters is probably Dani favorite, because I feel like you said, I think I would identify more with Dani.
Yeah.
Like, Eve, do not identify with Eve at all.
No.
But she's hilarious.
Yeah. I think like of the three of them, she's the one that I would want to spend time with, Eve.
Yes.
Sisters.
Actually, Eve reminds me more of my best friend.
Oh.
So I guess that makes sense. I would want to spend more time with Eve than the others. I don't want to spend time with myself at all.
But yeah, I can see where you I can see you as Dani, especially with the work ethic and the drive.
Yeah,
she has, definitely.
I think we can agree that Eve does not have that.
No, but I also really like that that's discussed in the book, and that it's okay, and that it's that idea of like not everyone has to be that type A personality where you're constantly striving for stuff, and actually it's fine just to find something you like doing and do it. So yeah, but I think like Eve, I don't know what I'm glancing down here, but I've got the beautiful hardback copies.
I'm so jealous.
You should be. They're beautiful. I can't lie. These are like this set is like one of those things, like if there was a fire, which touch wood there never would be, and my husband's son and the cats were all out safe, like this is what I would go back for.
Oh my god.
Be like, I need these because they're so pretty. I've completely forgotten what I was saying now.
No. I have no idea.
I think this probably makes me laugh out loud like more than the other two, mostly because of just the stuff that happens to Eve, and it's just like, oh my goodness. Okay, we've got a whole load more comments coming through now. So what did I get up to? So Crazy Mouse said, enjoyed the other two, again, both 4 stars, but I think I liked Dani a tiny bit more than Chloe. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because Talia Hibbert's writing is getting better as she writes them, because she put out, I think, like 1 a year or something.
Yeah.
Because Chloe has lots of things that I should like she's got a cat, for example, and a boyfriend with a motorbike.
Yeah,
my husband does.
I completely forgot that, actually. Yeah, that is.
And as I admitted in the Chloe live show, I'd completely forgotten there was a cat in that book, which is really bad of me, because it's like a main like a main character.
Yeah, it's like a moving plot point, that cat.
Yeah, quite an important plot point that I'd entirely forgotten. So Olivia said, I bake a few things very well, a handful that are part of my steadfast list, and then I experiment, but I don't always succeed. I like it. I don't have the concentration for baking. I'm quite a good cook.
Can attest to that, yep.
Yes, you can. Thank you. But I like with cooking, I can just chuck stuff in, which is what I do all the time. I'll just try a bit of this, bit of that. With baking, it's basically chemistry. So if you mess about with the recipe, it's going to sink like a stone, which has happened to me a few times. So I'm not very good at attention to detail with that kind of stuff. So it just never goes well.
I can't bake, and I'm not the best at cooking, but I do, because I now just throw things together and hope, which I'm getting better at. So I could try and do the breakfast she does, but like afternoon tea, I can't.
No.
I can't do that.
No, the only way I could do the afternoon tea is if I like bought all the bits. I could put it together.
I'll put it on a plate.
Yeah, make it look pretty. Well, kind of. Sorry, I've got Savannah here, and she's actually snoring. She's just there. And she's so loud. I'm sorry if you can hear it. I'm hoping you can't, but like, I'm sorry if you can hear her. Yeah, no, I can't. I cannot. I don't bake. I can cook, but I don't. I can't bake. Oh, hello. I had to set a reminder for this, but it didn't pop up. I don't know why that didn't happen. Sorry. It might be my technical skills. I don't know.
Actually, I got the 30-minute reminder, but I didn't get the live notification. So I will say it's YouTube.
Oh, okay. Let's blame YouTube. That's fine.
Blame YouTube.
I'm fine with that. So Danielle said, Danny is my favourite book. I can relate to Chloe the most, but I'd like to be friends with Eve the most. Yeah.
That's fair.
I think she'd be the most fun to be around.
100%.
Stuff just happens. That's all right.
My notifications are on. Sorry about that. There we go. Sorry.
That's all right. So yeah, I would. Yeah, I think he would be someone that I'd want to spend time with. Although with what my personality type is like, I don't know. I might have to limit the amount of time.
Yeah, I couldn't do. I did say she's the most like my best friend. I could spend forever with my best friend, but as a new introduced friend at this age, maybe limit the time.
Oh, okay. So Olivia said Danny is hands down me, which is why I love her, but also feel easily frustrated by her. Yeah, I did adore her love interest. Yeah, we love Zaf.
Yes, we do love Zaf.
I think Zaf is my favorite of the boys.
Yes, 100%.
Because you've got Jacob,
no,
for Eve, and Red,
and
Zaf.
I actually think Jacob might have overtaken, potentially, because I see more of like some of the little traits he has. I could like really get on board with, and I'm like, yeah, I'm so like that. I would want that.
Is it his spreadsheet skills? Like, let's not pretend. like
do kind of like his spreadsheet skills, yeah.
Anyone that doesn't know, Chloe's Chloe's an accountant, a chartered accountant. Sorry, give you your full title. So spreadsheets can be very important to her. So it takes all types.
But I do like, actually, I would say if I had to compare the three guys to Cole, Zaf is probably the closest.
Okay.
So maybe I should like him more, but I do like the spreadsheet skills and many other things about him, but the spreadsheet skills.
Yeah, one of the things that I really like about Jacob is when he doesn't correct Eve. Like when she's using the wrong word for stuff, he never corrects her. He just understands what she means and carries on and just accepts that that's part of her. Whereas I find it really irritating when her sisters are constantly correcting her. Did you mean this? Like, no. I mean, she was wrong, but that's fine. But I really like the way he is with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm sorry. I thought a lot of the times when I was reading it, and I would see that it was the wrong word, but he didn't correct her, I'd then be like, no, that is the wrong word, isn't it? Like, and Googling what the word meant, be like, no, that is wrong.
Yeah.
I just trusted her.
Yeah. I think it's nice though, because she doesn't need, it's not helping her when her sisters are constantly, it's just, nagging at her. It's annoying. Okay, so I've taken part in Sister-along. Yay, you've been reading pretty far outside my comfort zone. That's good. I hope you've enjoyed it. There are vlogs reviews for each up now. That's nice. I've actually got those in my watch later feed, which I plan to catch up on this week because I am not at work for the next 2 weeks. So yeah, that's great. I will watch those and comment and stuff. That's very exciting. Olivia's very excited that Daniel likes Staff for the win. Oh, Marlene's here. Hello.
I did not read FTW as For the Win, and I was very confused for a while. For the win. Okay, yes.
For the win. Yeah. That's what happens when I know these things because I hang around. I don't hang around with teenagers all day. That sounds wrong. I teach teenagers all day. Oh my days.
You hang around with teenagers. Okay.
Well, I wrangle teenagers professionally, but yeah. Oh, Amy's here as well. Oh my god, I'm waiting for this. Yeah, we're a little bit later than I normally do because Gary and I were traveling back from the deepest, darkest parts of Somerset today. So I didn't know if I was going to make it for 2 o'clock, so we shifted it a little bit. So yes, you're awake and here for it. Hello. So saying I don't think I can relate super much to any of the 3 sisters. Take a hint, Danny Brown was my favourite book of the 3, although I'm not quite sold on the romance genre still. Yeah, it's not one that I read much. I've read these, and I read The Roommate by Rosie Danan. I've got the second one of that to read somewhere up there.
I would maybe toss that one.
Oh, okay.
And we won't get into that today.
Actually, I think I remember you not liking the second one.
Yeah, me and a few other a few of my bookish friends have said The Roommate is a one book series, and we stand by it.
Yeah, maybe. I gave 5 stars to The Roommate. That was a real shock last summer. I took it on holiday and as like, oh, that'll be easy and I'll leave it there. And then absolutely obsessed with it, and it's still downstairs on my bookshelf. Oh, I'm scared now.
Sorry.
That's right. I'd rather know. Oh, Crazy Mel is agreeing with you. Yes, toss that one. Oh no. I might have to run a poll. I'm scared.
Do you know what? Right. Actually, because this relates to what I was going to say anyway, but it's so the intimacy experiment is less smutty.
Okay.
But the relationship still forms. Because when we were reading, well, all of them, especially Eve Brown, as I'm reading it, I'm like, how is Victoria enjoying this? Because I do not match you in my head to like spicy, very in detail, like does not like I can't connect that. Yeah. So you might actually like the intimacy experiment because we're all reading it like, come on, where is the spice? Yeah. Whereas you might be like, oh no, it's a really nice relationship building.
It's a funny thing, isn't it? Because I read a lot of thrillers and a bit of literary fiction and non-fiction and stuff that doesn't tend to have like spicy stuff, like spicy scenes in it. But I feel like if it's well written and it fits with the characters, for me I have to have plot first and then like the spicy stuff coming later, which I feel like Talia Hibbert does really well, and so did The Roommate. I felt like it wasn't just immediate like people being naked and stuff, like
being naked and stuff. This is why I didn't think you'd like.
Well, like it's why like things like is it Planet Barbarian?
Oh, it's Planet Barbarian.
Yeah, like I feel like I wouldn't get on with that because there's not enough plot. Oh no.
You mean this one?
Yeah, that one. Which, you know, is also perfectly valid for people to enjoy and read. But I think I personally need more plot than I think that book is going to offer, from what I've heard.
That's not going to offer you any plot. Don't even think about it.
No, I don't think it's for me. I suspect. But when there's plot first, and you've got other like with these, for example, you've got like the men have got their own things going on. You've got loads of mental health rep. You've got the autism rep in this, for Jacob and possibly for Eve as well. And there's just more going on. So that's where I can like get on board with the romance thing.
And I do think as well, this one, I'll just call it the spicy scenes. I don't know what word you want me to use on your channel. The spicy scenes. They completely matched her personality as well. Like, let's just say with the purple thing before we talk about that, it was so much her like silly personality that you didn't read it like, oh, that's really weird that you just mentioned that. It was like, oh my god, of course she has that. Like, of course that's happened.
Yeah, of course she has that, and it's purple and glittery, and it's like, that makes sense. Yeah. But I think it's just a sign of good writing and good like character development and stuff. So I think a few people were surprised when I was like, let's read the Brown Sisters, because it's not really my area, but
it's not something I would associate with you at all. But at the same time, I'm like so glad you enjoy it.
Yeah,
there's so many books I could recommend to you, but I don't think you'd enjoy them because there isn't that like amazing plot beforehand.
Yeah,
you go into it knowing what you're going to get, which isn't.
I think The Roommate, I think it was Aoife at Pretty Purple Polka Dots who basically shoved The Roommate into my hands and was like, if you like Talia Hibbert and the Brown Sisters, you will like this. And I was like, okay, went in with very low expectations, and she was right. So yeah, I think it's a very niche area of romance that is going to be for me, but it's nice to have a little bit here and there. So Amy was saying, I feel like I like Eve the least because she feels the most like me. Okay, that's interesting. I like it. Oh, Joe's here. Hi, I didn't get around to reading Eve, but she's fave. Yeah, Joe's read before though, but hello Joe. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, Crazy Mom telling me to get rid of the experiment. I'm scared now. Did I get that? Hang on, it's up here. I
was going to say, I could have even potentially got it for you at this point.
I don't know if I can't remember if it was gifted. It's not got a gift note in it. So did you unhaul it to me? Maybe. It's pretty bashed. Like,
no.
On my shelves though.
I don't remember.
I don't know where I got this from. But anyway, we'll put that to one side for a minute. Question mark. Okay, so Amy said, I think Eve would have been a great chance to include something kinkier. With autism being very sensory, exploring kink would have fit in well. Can't comment on that, so I don't know. But I think also maybe Talia Hibbert didn't do it because she was conscious of its commercial fiction as well.
Yeah.
I don't know what the lines are between like
and I think
romance and Ice Planet Barbarians, for example. Like
that one's not. It's hard to explain the parameters of Ice Planet Barbarians, but I think it could potentially be if you've got Chloe and Danny, which there are spicy things, obviously, but it's not quite to that level. I think if you then threw in something that pushed the boat a little bit, you've got the readers who started, and do they all want to do that jump kind of thing?
Yeah, third in a series, it'd be difficult to suddenly drop it in. Crazy Mel's laughing because you're apparently way too innocent for that. Yeah, maybe.
I think we just see you as this very innocent person. We're like, oh no, you cannot.
I'm now like kind of intrigued. I'm like, But anyway. Oh, so yeah, Joe's also surprised. I'm surprised you enjoy the Brown Sisters so much too, Victoria. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's kind of it's an interesting thing to think about. Yeah, I don't know.
I guess I think it's maybe how you present yourself, like on YouTube, that people are like, really? I genuinely think it could be that, because you're such like a well-read, rounded, mature person, and I'm like,
lie.
Like, not like that. I get to know you a little bit more.
I think maybe. I think it's partly like because I think I've definitely said this in videos, and I might have said this to you, Chloe, as well. Like I'm very conscious that like I don't swear on my channel. Because it started off because I didn't want to embarrass Charlie. Like at some point he might, he was my first ever subscriber, which is just like my favorite thing. Bless him. But he doesn't watch my videos because why would he be interested in that? He's not at all, which is fine. But he might watch them at some point. Yeah. Or like his mates might come across them, and I don't want to embarrass him. And now since I've become a teacher, I'm also like conscious of that, because I'm allowed to have a life outside of teaching, of course, have an online presence and stuff. But I wouldn't want to post anything that could cause a problem.
Yeah.
With school
you're not going to read out Den of Vipers like I would.
No, but I loved your video when you did. I was like, when that video popped up, I was like, okay, not my thing, the book. I was like, but I'll watch like the first 15 minutes so that she gets the view and, get the like and stuff. And then I just watched the entire thing.
It's like hour and 20 minutes.
Loved it. Like, if you guys haven't watched Chloe's vlog where she reads Den of Vipers, and if you are all right with that kind of content, definitely go and watch it.
It's so old, and it's like my most watched video.
I'm not surprised.
Editing is awful. The thumbnail is awful. But I'm like, guys, it's just me eating sandwiches and dictating Den of Vipers.
Yeah. It was so good. I was completely hooked by the whole thing, and I kept doing this thing. I was like, I'm going to watch 10 minutes, and I'm going to watch something else. And then I had to know what was going to happen. Firstly, in the story, but also your reactions were just so funny. I was like, no, I'm just going to have to watch this whole thing. So yeah, I think
two very differently presenting people on YouTube. That's what we are.
But like I said, I'm very. I don't hide anything. I kind of click into my teacher way of speaking when I'm online. Like I don't swear, and I'm just what I'm posting really. Whereas Chloe will tell you guys, in real life, I do swear quite a lot. I am quite sweary when I'm not at work. She's really offensive, actually.
No, definitely not as bad as most people I know, but there is definitely a switch, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah. Okay, so Amy's here. Hello, thought I'd drop in, catching up with some journaling. Still in January, but almost done. People that journal, honestly, I'm in awe of you. I do not have the patience or the skill involved in that. So yes, well done. Oh, Charlie's here as well. Hello. You have to apologise, Charlie. You've literally just been on a live show, I think. I think Charlie's doing Plod Along on Alice's channel. So yeah, don't worry about being late. Yeah, Joe, I don't think Victoria's innocent as she comes across.
Can confirm.
I think also it's partly because most of obviously what I put on the internet is what I'm reading.
Yeah.
And I'm not really interested in reading Ice Planet Barbarians, for example. Like, I'm not, it just doesn't appeal to me as a reader.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it. I don't know. But yes. Amy said, sorry, I'm not doing anything brown sister related. That's absolutely fine.
You're good. Thank you for joining.
Yeah. Okay, so Daniela said, I'm not surprised you like the series, Victoria. For one thing, you have good taste, but it's one of the best of its genre and cute and quirky and hilarious, so it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, people have struggled, I think, to recommend me other romance books aside from The Roommate, based on the Brown sisters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because I'm not interested in the... Like, Ice Planet Barbarians is literally the only thing I can think of. Or what's the other one? The Disney ones?
Oh, Desperate Measures. Yeah,
Those.
you don't want Jafar.
No, although I am kind of fascinated in a weird way by that. I'm like, and I'm also happily buy it and send it to you. So I was like, when Chloe got her job, I went through and I was like, it's Katie Roberts, isn't it? Is the author?
Yeah, Katie Roberts.
I went through her wish list and I was like, let's just send her loads of these books. That'll be funny.
Literally, there's an Ursula one. Yeah. I think you sent me the Beast one, and Beauty and the Beast is not Beauty, well, just the Beauty.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ones.
Yeah. So I'll quite happily send it to you and then watch your vlogs, like the Den of Vipers one, which I was just thoroughly having a great time.
I need to repeat something like that because I don't think I can top that in my YouTube career. Like, I need something to that level.
Brianna's sprinting, but if I'd pop in and listen while I can. Thank you. Hello. Glad you're here. And Amy said, I don't read a ton of romance, but I love the X Talk Cute Enemies to Lovers podcast romance. Okay, that's
I have heard good things about that, and I do have it. So when I read it, I can let you know.
Yeah, let me know what you think. So yes. Okay, so I did make a very few notes when I was reading this, which is the most I've done for any of them because I'm an absolutely awful host, so I apologize. I'm not used to doing live shows with just one book. It's been a new thing. So one of the things I really liked in this that you don't get so much in the others is the food descriptions, because Eve's a chef. And I think that's one of the things I was like, yes, I'm really enjoying this. So that for me was a definite highlight.
Yeah, you definitely like your food descriptions. I know that.
Yes. If there's food descriptions in a book, I'm all over it.
Like, literally, you can go from that to like legends and lattes, and you're like, yeah, but the food was good. I'm like,
food.
Fake food. It's not real.
Yes, but it makes me. I'm very food orientated. As you know, like Chloe and I were talking before we came on, and I was saying like my husband and I had 2 breakfasts this morning, and I was very happy about it. We had crumpets in the little cabin that we were staying in, and then we were driving home through one of our local towns where one of our favorite cafes is. And I was like, should we get a breakfast? He was like, yes.
100%.
Why I married. One of the reasons why I married him. So yeah, food descriptions is always going to be a winner for me.
Yeah,
for sure. And there's some really good ones of Eve in that. There's also, so if you haven't read Eve and you don't want any spoilers, you might want to mute me for a minute, because one of the things that made me absolutely collapse laughing is the fight that they overhear when they're in the cupboard.
Yes. Oh my, I forgot about that.
I'd forgotten about it as well until I suddenly got to it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about this. So Eve and Jacob are in the cleaning cupboard, like getting cleaning supplies, and they overhear a fight from the room next door, which is like they hear it through a vent or something. I'm just going to find it because I wrote the page number down. And I think I put it in the group chat, didn't I? As I was reading, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about this. This is the funniest thing that ever happened.
I was reading, not to brag, I was reading around the pool in Turkey. And every time I got to something funny, of which the fight was one of them, I'd be like, Emily, you need to hear what's just happened. And I'd be like reading lines out.
I read the whole thing to Gary because I was like cracking up. He was like, what are you reading? Because I don't read stuff that is like laugh out loud funny very often. I'm usually next to him on the sofa and he's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you've gone completely rigid because I'm reading something like gross or scary or something. And I was like properly belly laughing to myself. But he was, so they overhear this fight from the people next door, and like if you've got like kids about, there's no swearing, I don't think, in this bit, but like this is a bit of fairly adult content, but I'll just read you the tiny bit, right? You've got this couple having a fight. She's talking about how boring he is, and then they're talking about their love life, and he says where is it? Oh my gosh. she says something about how it's been 6 weeks and 5 days, and he's sorry. And she says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did you think 10 to 15 minutes of pumping away in silence was doing it for me? Did you imagine I've been coming really quietly and in absolute stillness? I've been seriously considering having it off with my electric toothbrush, Brian." And it was just like,
Brian.
Brian at the end, I was just like absolutely creasing.
I think it only works with like a really stereotypical like English like harsh name.
Yeah.
Like, if that was like Steve, like it would also work.
Yeah, you couldn't have something like exotic or exciting. It has to be like a Brian or George or so. Yeah, like, I was just reading that bit. I was like, that whole section. There's like 2 pages where they're even Jacob are trying to stay really still in this cupboard so that they don't get overheard. And that whole argument, I was just like, wow, that's one of the funniest things. Oh, so I loved that. And then I also really liked at the end. This is very different tone. The description of the Brown family by Jacob. So they're all gathered, and again, this is spoilery, but it is a romance, so you probably worked out how this goes, this story. But he's describing what the family looks like, and I really liked, because it's the last book in the trilogy. I'm still holding out hope that we'll get a book about their grandmother, because I feel like
she has to do that. We need that.
I know we need it, but I just really liked the description of the Brown family. I won't read like the whole thing out because it's quite long, but he describes the sisters. So to Jacob's right sat the sisters, pretty, different, close. They were whispering together in the corner, shooting him suspicious looks. The one with the blue glasses looked particularly murderous. That's Chloe. The one with the purple hair seemed dispassionately curious, like a scientist who would dissect him if she thought it worth her while. And then there was the grandmother, the only other older lady who seemed to be her partner. They were the only ones who weren't pointedly ignoring him. Jacob rather wished they would. And I kind of liked seeing the Brown family from outside. Yeah. It was just a really nice way of doing it.
Because I think it's rounded it off where we've had like Chloe talk about her family, Danny talk about her family, Eve talk about her family, to then get a complete outsider to wrap it all up.
Yeah. It's actually really good. Yeah. So that was nice. But yeah, it's definitely an easy 5-star read for me, that one.
And I think
you're right. It is the easiest of the 5 stars to of the series.
And I the one thing that I went into it thinking about was when you got those books and you were like, look how beautiful they are, and you were like, wow, this one's purple, and if you know the reason why, and I was like, I am so excited to find out the reason why. And then Crazy Mal was listening I'm pointing because I can see the comments. Crazy Mal was listening to the audiobook, and I was like, have you got to the thing where you know why it's purple yet? And that was my most exciting moment, was finding out why it's purple. And that part, just I was absolutely crying, laughing.
I was as well. It was just like, I think, I don't know. She's definitely definitely the funniest of the 3 books. I think it might be partly because although Jacobs is dealing with abandonment issues, and that's part of the is it part of the note at the front? Because they've all got content warnings in them, which is really good. We love to see that. So in this one, the author's note says, this book mentions childhood neglect and anti-autistic ableism, which is what Jacob's dealing with. If these topics are sensitive for you, please read with care, blah, blah, blah. I also really like that she said, you should also know that while writing this book, I elected to ignore the existence of COVID-19. I hope this book provides some form of escape. And that was, it was good because it was written during the pandemic.
Yeah, because I think
at the end.
Did it come out in 2021? Yeah. So I guess when that was being written, that was major like lockdown times.
Yeah, because she talks in her bit at the end. 2021. She talks in her author's note at the end of the book about how her family basically saw up close and personal, saw her writing process and like how gnarly that is, and guided her through it. But I think, despite the fact that that's what Jacob is dealing with, of the 3 leads, like the 3 men, like his is the least traumatic, like least heavy storyline, because he's already understanding his autism. That's not a new thing to him, and he's also already doing things like having therapy for his parents abandoning him and stuff. So I think maybe that made it bit more space for it to be a little bit silly.
Yeah, because I guess if he's like, you know, still massive, not dealing with, I can't think of if he's still like processing things that have happened, yes, it can still be funny.
Yeah.
But if we're getting through these things, then you kind of, there are some serious issues you can bring up in a good way, but then you can say like, okay, we're going to fall in a pond and it's going to be hilarious. Like,
I also forgot about the pond scene. I love that. I love that he jumps in after her, even though the pond, it's his pond, so he knows it's not that deep, but he still goes in to get her with his arm in a cast as well. I was like,
yeah, just
like holding his arm up, bless him. Because then you also have that like trope, haven't you, of like the wet white shirt, like Darcy, but it doesn't somehow feel like a cliche.
No, it wasn't, because I was like quite, what's the word to use? I don't want to say excited, but I guess excited. When it was like, oh, he's in a white shirt, or like he was shirtless or something, and I'm like, oh no, he's in a pool, so he's like damp. And then she starts describing that, and you're like, oh, your brain went where my brain went.
But no, I've got that on my list of things. I was like, falling into the pond, Jacob jumped in to save her, and then a heart emoji. I'm like, he's just
so cute.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a few more comments and stuff coming in. Oh, Danny was making some recommendations. 7 in June, or The Love Hypothesis. A lot going on outside of romance and good rep too. I haven't read Love Hypothesis. I haven't read either of those.
No.
I read what was the it's the book where the woman decides to get somebody to teach her how to be a girlfriend. I quite like that one.
Oh, yeah, I know it's one of my favorite, Kiss Quotient. There we go. Yeah, I was like, it's one of my favorite books of all time.
I enjoyed that one, and that's the same thing, I think, because there's so much other stuff going on around the characters. It's not just about like the naughty bits. So yeah, I've heard lots about The Love Hypothesis because that's been everywhere on the internet, but I hadn't heard of 7 in June, so we'll have a little look for that one.
I feel like I have heard of that one, and it didn't quite appeal to me because I remember thinking, oh, that seems like a bit too much going on that's not romance. I'm just, oh yeah, is it 7 Days in June maybe?
Oh, okay. Maybe.
Because I definitely recognise the cover, and it got it nominated for Best Romance, so
okay.
I think it might be that one.
Yeah, I need to do a bit more exploring of romance, I think. Mix it in with all the soul destroying, scary
death and
stuff. Blowing stuff up and whatever. Daniel, so I don't even like Savoury Breakfast. What? That much, but everything sounded divine. I know everything she cooks sounds so good. I'm just like, yes, please. Amy's also recommending How Long Till Black Future Month by N.K. Jemisin. I know Victoria, fantasy sci-fi isn't your typical thing, but the food descriptions are phenomenal. That's the way you get me. I think that's one of the things I liked most about Legends and Lattes was all the food stuff. So yeah, I need to add some more stuff to my TBR. Like food descriptions are plant-based for very obvious reasons. Oh yeah, Charlie was laughing at the quote that I was reading out. That honestly, I was just wheezing. And Mel read it on audiobook, which I love because they're not on. I don't have Audible. I only have Scribd, and they're not on Scribd. But I need to maybe just start an Audible like trial thing and just blast through them all again on audio because I feel like they'd be even better. I'm sure that was just amazing. Although I'd be like frothy giggling. Yeah, Brian. I would, the grandmother, a book on a pan, elderly person, yes, please. I know, it's just, and look, you could do a whole series on her because I'm sure she'll have loads of really cool stories to tell. She's like that kind of person that's lived like 1,000 lives. So that scene in the closet was great. My favorite scene is probably how Eve calls out the obnoxious man at that meeting with "Explain that joke to me." Yes. So where they go to the gingerbread meeting and someone cracks a joke at Jacob's expense, I think. I think it's like
I can't remember. It was like, was it something about how he was gonna? No, it was about Star Trek, wasn't it?
Yes. Oh, Spock.
Yeah.
It was the Spock reference.
Yeah.
And that whole "explain that joke to me." That's such an effective put down.
Yeah.
I've used that at school sometimes. If kids are making comments, I'm always like, I don't understand. Can you tell me why that's funny? And then they're like, oh, I'm like, is it not funny? Shall we not say that again?
I mean, I've used it with adults. I've used it in my last job. Like when, I mean, obviously we won't go too far into it, but there was a situation where there was a joke, a long-going joke at like an autistic expense kind of thing. And I was like, sorry, can we explain why we do that? Why we think that's appropriate? And nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, it's a really effective way of dealing with that, but also like in a fairly non-confrontational way.
Yeah. I'm just like, sorry, I don't get it. Can you explain that?
Well, like I said, I do it quite a bit at school. I'm not getting that. Can you explain why it's funny? And then you just wait for crickets.
Tumbleweed.
Yeah, exactly. Because they suddenly realize it's not funny and they should be saying it. Amy's heading out for the day so I can finish my books. I hope you have a lovely reading afternoon or day. I can never work out time differences, and I also can't remember whereabouts you are in the States, Amy. I suspect it's probably morning time where you are. But yes, have a great day and thank you for dropping in. So I think that's all of my notes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, because I was bad and didn't make notes.
That's right. I didn't really either.
Oh dear, what do I think about? Because I think everything we've kind of is the same kind of stuff anyway.
Yeah,
I did really, really like the autism side of this, and I can't personally speak on it, but there was definitely a few things that just really like pulled on my heartstrings, just explaining little things, and like his nests.
Yes.
Oh my god, then he's got a nest. I want a nest.
Well, and also that I liked that he has already got an autism diagnosis and she is questioning, and I thought that was really interesting. And I also feel like the way, because Talia Hibbert, I think his own voice is for autism. I think I'm right in saying that,
but I'm not 100%.
But what I really liked about it was the way that she talks about it might make other people think about if they maybe have some autistic traits. So the stuff like the blankets, that's a total sensory thing. Like weighted blankets makes total sense.
I had never ever thought of it, and I like, obviously without too much into my problems, I always remember my mom would like come into my room and make my bed perfectly like crisp with the duvet, and I'm like, what are you doing? I had that. And like blankets folded and put away somewhere, and I'm like, why have you done that? I've got to remake this comfy space. And I would never think anything of that. I was just like, oh, I'm getting annoyed. Like it's fine. And now I'm like, no, I want a nest. Yeah, exactly. So when he was explaining the blanket nest, I was like, oh my god, I want one. I'm gonna now do this with my bedroom. Yeah,
but it makes total sense as well if you're feeling, whether you have autism or are just overwhelmed, like having a blanket nest would make complete sense. That sounds like a great idea. So I feel like it's a really good book, whether you have autism or not. Sorry, my cat is now trying to climb. I've got Molly trying to climb inside the washing machine. Girls, can we not? I've got one climbing on stuff.
I think the other really good thing, because as you said, he has a diagnosis, she doesn't, and he notices things in her, but doesn't bring it up, and let her kind of come to that idea herself. Which also, I really appreciated.
She's also a grown woman as well, and girls are 3 times less likely to be diagnosed than boys. And so to have a character that's got to, is she like 25 or something? She's an adult.
Yeah, about that, I think.
To have not received a diagnosis and then be questioning, I think is really effective, because I think it will make a lot of people rethink possibly, and also think about the people in their lives maybe that deal with things in certain ways. Like it could just open up loads of really, really good conversations, which is one of the things I think that's, it's one of the things that I just love about the book, about the whole series, but this one in particular. To get that in a romance book, perfect. So it's a good one. Okay, so we've got the last few comments coming through. Charlie said, can't believe this was the last Brown sister. I know, they were all such comfort reads, I will miss them, although I've got Legends and Lattes on it to get to. Chloe didn't enjoy that one, but that's okay.
I just don't appreciate food enough.
And it is a book where literally nothing happens. So
nothing happens.
For whatever reason, when I read it, I was just like, this is one of the best things I've ever read. I need to reread it. I want to reread it, and I'm scared to reread it in case I reread it and go,
nothing happens
in this. Because I'm usually all about the plot and stuff
Yeah.
happening. But it's literally just about an orc who decides to create a coffee house.
Mhm.
And that's it. That's
That
what
is
happened.
literally it. Yeah.
But I still loved it. There's a little rat who bakes.
Who makes cakes?
And it's like, it's the food, and then one of my other like buzzwords or phrases, the found family, and this has both. And I was just like, yes, this is a book for me.
Need it.
And there's a prequel coming, set in a bookshop, by the way, which is coming out in June, I want to say. Soon, I think. I've got it pre-ordered. I'm very excited about it. So, yes.
I've ever agreed on a review so much, but given the complete opposite rating.
But it just, certain books hit, don't they, for certain people, and that one just was perfect at the time I read it. So I hope, Charlie, you enjoy Legends of Lattes. Nothing happens, but it's really sweet. Charlie said yes, she is own voices. Yeah, I thought so, but it's like one of those things where I'm like, I think so. So Daniela said it made we can get this to work. Please work. If I click the right button, that would help. It made me research more neurospicy areas. Yes, I think there's been a few people, I can't remember, I feel like maybe Becca from Becca in the Books has talked about spicy books that are also neurodivergent. But I feel like that would be an interesting place to look for recommendations.
I would definitely look into that.
Yeah. I'm very tempted by Legends of Lattes, but I'd be so disappointed if I didn't like it. I know, Joe. It's the problem with the hype. Because you could go either way. Like I said, nothing happens, but it's just really cute.
I heard everyone talking about it, so I was reached out to and asked if I wanted a copy. And I was like, yeah, of course. Everyone loves it. And then as I'm reading it, I'm like, am I reading the book that everyone else is reading?
I think because oddly for me, I read it without hearing the hype. So I got offered Book Break, a part of Pam Macmillan, who published it traditionally, because it had already been self-published. And then Pan Mac picked it up, and Book Break sent it on a list of the whole load of other ones. And I literally just liked the cover, which is the like chalkboard cover. And read a tiny bit of the blurb, and I was like, yeah, sounds cute, let's give it a go. And then it arrived, so I had no expectations whatsoever, and then I just completely fell in love with the characters. So it's tricky, because that's why I put off Her Majesty's Royal Coven for so long with the hype, and then I loved that one. But it can go either way, because there have been books where I've been like Atlas 6.
Yes.
Yeah, Atlas 6. Yeah, I was bored senseless by that and put it down.
I've got her new book,
Masters
of Death, which is coming out in August, I think. It's right here. I could easily find out. It's literally on the floor next to me. Oh, sorry for that shot, everyone. Yeah, this one. It's gorgeous.
Great title.
And is it August? Yeah, 17th of August. But I have heard nothing about this. And this is another like like it's been published before.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try and hear nothing, because I don't want to know.
I just was really bored. I think I read about 80 pages and I was like, nothing's happening, which is like this, like nothing happens in Legends of Lattes, but whatever. We all click with different things, don't we? So I hope you like it. Oh gosh, if you do pick it up. And Charlie, I know. So Charlie's, I've got it somewhere.
I haven't read the second one yet. I've read A Kind of Spark.
I still haven't read this. This is Like a Charm, which Charlie keeps telling me to read because I have dyspraxia, and so does the main character in this. And I know I need to read it. I'm going to read it soon, I promise. It's making its way to the front of the queue. But yeah, so the best books, I'm going to have to leave this down here. I can't do two things at once. By a neurodivergent author, by Elle McNichol. She just hits every note, made myself and my daughter cry with how great the rep was. Yeah, all I hear is how good the rep is. And also, what was the other one you said?
Kind of Spark.
Kind of Spark.
That one, I sobbed through the entire thing.
Yeah.
And it's only short, so I could maintain.
I think that's what's slightly intimidating me. It's like every time I mention this book, people are like, you're going to love it. And I'm like, I'm sure I am, but I'm also slightly scared. Yeah. Also, I haven't read Dyspraxia Rep since I was diagnosed with dyspraxia, so I'm a bit like, is this going to be a bit close to home?
Yeah.
But at some point, I will take a deep breath, Charlie, and I will do it. Like I said, it's creeping closer to the front of the queue. Also, somebody asked, I know Talia Hibbert has written a YA book. Have any of you read it? Weirdly, didn't do this on purpose.
Of course, I literally just thought, has she? Even though you told me about this book an hour ago.
I'm only 50 pages in. Very much enjoying it so far. It's the upper end of YA because our characters are like 17. They're getting ready to go to uni. So like last year of what we would call college here in the UK. And yeah, it's very cute so far. It's fun. It's enemies, I'm assuming, to lovers because it's a romance. We're in the enemy stage. I was saying to Chloe before we came on, which clearly she's forgotten about.
I've remembered now.
The only downside for me is it's using the miscommunication trope, which is one of my least favorite things ever. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. So we'll see how we go.
Yeah. I was just trying to think of what other books she's written that I have on my like radar, and I've got The Princess Trap and haven't picked it up yet, but I've heard good things. So if anyone who's here has read that, can you let me know?
Well, I feel like I think Brianna's gone back to her sprints because she was the queen of reading Talia Hibbert backlist like last year, I think. So she might be someone to ask, or she might have a blog somewhere. But yeah, I picked this up. This was in the adult section though of Waterstones. I did gently, I think, point out to the bookseller in there. I was like, that's a YA book, not an adult book. Just to let you know. So you know. But yeah, it's fun so far. We've got a pair of like I said, older teenagers who used to be best friends, and then he went off and became part of the popular crowd, and she was like obviously hurt by that. And then they're in their final year of college and trying to get their best, like their university applications to stand out. So they take part in this like wilderness thing, I think is where it's going, and they're going to end up like as a team, I think.
Right. Add to list.
But it
sounds great.
It feels very Talia Hibbert. Like even the relationship that she has with her older sister, like is very similar to Eve and Danny.
Yeah.
But she's like not as scatty as Eve, but she's got that kind of creative energy as well. I don't know. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. And like I said, I read like 50 pages without even trying this morning. So that's nice. And the cover's cute as well. So
it is adorable.
Yeah. Right. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, Charlie said thank you for organising the relaunch.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks for taking part.
Thanks for having us all on as co-hosts.
Wow, it's been fun. It's always that scary thing when you're like, should we do this? See if anyone wants to do it. Thankfully, you guys came and joined in as hosts, and then people come to live shows and got involved that way. So that's very nice. So thank you very much, guys, for joining in. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed rereading. It was one of those things where it's like, I'm going to reread these, but it'd be nice if people joined in as well. Exactly. So thank you to everybody. I am going to go and get in the bath, I think, because it's Sunday evening. Although I don't have school tomorrow, which is very exciting.
You can do what you could party till 3 a.m. and no one can tell you no.
Exactly. Except we all know I'll still be in bed at like 9:30. That's how I roll.
I'm going to get started on dinner, and I'm excited tonight.
Good for you. Like we have just bought, like we're staying in this like little cabin, so we bought like a week's worth of food for 2 days.
Clearly,
because we were just in Tesco's on Friday night. Like, well, clearly we need like a whole wheel of cheese. Blah blah blah. So we're just doing like snacks and stuff for
picky bits.
Yeah, we've got some nice bread and cheese and all that stuff. And we also bought Easter eggs, which is supposed to be for next weekend, but I don't think they're going to make it to next weekend.
So I'll be there in about 2 hours if you want to get the picky bits ready.
Laura's in work tomorrow. Year 11. Yeah, I was supposed to be doing that, and I managed to swerve it. So the lovely head of faculty and second in command are doing the year 11 revision. Teachers are seriously so dedicated. I hope it goes quickly, Laura, and I hope they appreciate you, and it will definitely help. So, you know, well done you for going in. I did slide out of that one.
I applaud you, because if I had the option.
Well, I'm going to go in later in the week because I need to sort my classroom out, and there is just never time. But at least I won't have to teach. But good luck, Laura, for tomorrow. You're doing an amazing thing for sure. Okay, everyone say goodbye. Just a nice off to walk. Alfie, have a good evening, everyone. Have a good one, Joe. Say hello to Alfie. If you don't know Joe, Alfie wears like the cutest little bow ties. Like, honestly, brighten my day.
Adorable.
I'll work tomorrow, librarian. Yeah, most people I assume are working tomorrow. I'm just jammy because it's school holidays.
I mean, I've had a week off and I don't want to go to work.
Oh no, you're going to be awesome tomorrow. It's going to be good tomorrow. Yeah, so you'll be fine. And yes, thank you, Charlie. I suspect that I will be having to go and buy some more Easter eggs, because I don't think the ones that are in our house right now will be here next weekend when Charlie arrives. Our Charlie.
Yeah, I got very confused then. I was like, Charlie's coming around for Easter eggs?
Too many Charlies. Anyway, guys, we are going to do the awkward 30-second waving thing whilst the broadcast finished. But thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you later. All right. Bye.
I'm going.